So let's talk about communication in leadership, because most leadership breakdowns are not failure of strategy. They are communication failures disguised as, number one, personality clashes, generational gaps, and cultural misunderstanding. And here's the uncomfortable truth: you are not as clear as you think you are. I'm going to repeat that. You, my dear leader, are not as clear as you think you are. And clarity is not measured by what you say. It is measured by what people understand and act on. Leaders often say, I told them, but telling is not communicating. Communication today is happening across generations, across cultures, across the globe. Words don't travel the same way anymore. Meaning shifts. Context matters. Tone matters. Timing matters. So let me give you one word that exposes this gap. The word why. Now, for some of us growing up, why was disrespect. It was challenge. It was questioning authority. But for the generations you are leading now, why is engagement? It is curiosity. It is ownership. So when a younger team member asks why, you hear rebellion, but they mean responsibility. Then communication breaks. And when communication breaks, trust erodes. Here's the leadership shift that must happen. You don't need to protect your authority. You need to translate it. Strong leaders don't silence questions. They answer them. Because unanswered questions don't disappear. They turn into disengagement. Now let's widen the lens. Across culture or cultures, the same word can carry different weight. Across continents, silence can mean respect or it can mean disagreement. Across generations, directness can feel like honesty or hostility. So communication is no longer about being right. It's about being received. And this is where many leaders struggle. They confuse volume with clarity. They repeat themselves louder instead of communicating better. But influence doesn't come from repetition. It comes from connection. And so future-ready leaders, or what I call the futuring leader, they do three things differently. First, they adjust their language without diluting their message. They don't change the standard, but they change the story. Second, they listen as much as they speak, not to respond, but to understand. Third, they recognize that communication is emotional before it is intellectual. People don't respond to logic first. They respond to how safe they feel, how seen they feel, and whether they trust your intent. So let me say this a bit more clearly. If people feel talked at, they switch off. If they feel talked down to, they resist. And if they feel talked with, they engage. And this matters more now than ever, because you are leading in a world of noise, notifications, messages, opinions, screens. So attention is the new scarce resource. I'll repeat that again. Attention is the new scarce resource. So if your communication is not intentional, it'll be ignored. If it's not clear, it'll be misinterpreted. And if it is not consistent, it will not be trusted. And this is why leadership today is not about having the right words. It is about having the right conversations. conversations that create alignment, conversation that reduce fear, conversation that invite ownership. And so let me leave you with 3 questions you need to ask yourself as a leader. Do people understand what I expect, or are they guessing? 2, do people feel safe to ask questions, or do they stay silent? 3, do my words create clarity or compliance? Because communication is not about expression, it is about impact. And the leaders who master it will not just be heard, they will be followed.